All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We're moving on with some more safeties here. And this time around, we are looking at the more budget options for a quality starter. The first video, we looked at some guys that were on that second tier of safety pay. These guys are kind of on that third tier. You're still getting theoretically a capable starter, but for one reason or another, there's just less upside and less value than those guys in the first video. And given the fact that this team is likely to move off of Kobe Bryant because of cost this offseason, I don't think it's because they don't think he's a good player. I don't think it's because they don't value him. I think they're moving off of Kobe because they can't afford him, or at the very least, they don't want to have to pay him all that money. Saying that they're going to pick an option to replace him in free agency that is significantly cheaper is reasonable. So let's take a look at some safeties. All right, everybody, before we go any further into this video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about the Sleeper app and some new functionality they've recently rolled out, Team Picks. With Team Picks, you can pick winners in all kinds of sporting events. Right now, we have NBA basketball, college basketball, NHL hockey is going on, baseball's going to start in a little more than a month, and of course, you have futures in the NFL, even though the games in the NFL are over. Right now, if you look to my left here, you can actually see you can bet on next year's Super Bowl winner. They've got the Seahawks leading the way in those odds, by the way, at 12%. How does that make you feel as a Seahawks fan? But you can bet on MVP, you can bet on draft picks, you can bet on player destinations, all kinds of fun stuff, even though the season is over. So that is Team Picks over on Sleeper. A lot of fun stuff you can do. All right, so first guy, this is a very interesting one. You probably know this guy, Kevin Byard. Been in this league a long time. Been in this league for what? We're on a decade now. Yeah, we're on 10 years now. Three-time first-team All-Pro, including the most recent season. Big-time interception artist. A lot of takeaways in his career. 8 in 2017, 7 this most recent year. He's one of the best ball hawk safeties in the league right now. And he's great. The issue is, and this is the hang up here, this is why he's not expected to get paid like the top safeties in free agency, is because of age. He's going to turn 33 before this season starts. So he was good last year. There's no doubt about it. 7 interceptions, 93 tackles, played all 17 games. But any day now, any time now, the cliff will come. And the cliff is going to come hard. He's 33. Most safeties do not play effectively into their mid-30s, so it's tough. Now, I don't think the Bears are going to let Kevin Byard go because they're losing supposedly Jaquan Brisker. I don't think you lose both your safeties in one offseason, but it's possible right now, so we may as well discuss the possibility that he's available. And you just have to make a decision. Do you think he has one good year left? Pro Football Focus, obviously pretty high on him this last season. You go back through previous years, you'll find mostly positive stuff. Not everything's perfect, but this has been a good player for a long time in this league. You just have to try to make the guess. Is this the guy that you think is going to be able to play effective football at 33 years old? And like I say, I mean, I mostly say this about quarterbacks, but it's true for a lot of players in the NFL. The drop off is often not gradual, it happens very fast. So if you're thinking that, well, he'll slowly level off over the next 3, 4 years, not necessarily. And that age is the main reason why Spotrac thinks you can get him at a lower price. They have him at 2 years, 15.7 million. That is 7.8 million per year. So that would be significantly less than a lot of the other guys we've already looked at. That would be kind of a mid-level safety that you would still trust to be your starter. And I think you'd be okay there. The 2 years is a little bit dicey, but it'll probably be like a 1-and-1 where that second year is not really all that guaranteed, and he's probably just gonna get cut. So Kevin Byard, definitely an interesting option here. I don't know if we wanna go this way. I don't think a 33-year-old safety is necessarily what McDonald is looking for here. But I do believe that somebody out there is gonna covet him pretty heavily. I think there's a sense that he's going to be good for a little while longer. All right, so after Kevin Byard, we have another flawed player that has the potential to bring positive things, Gino Stone. And this one's worth paying attention to because Gino Stone played under Mike Macdonald in Baltimore for a couple of years there. In fact, in 2023, he had 7 interceptions in a Mike Macdonald defense. So that was kind of his big breakout year. They got people paying attention to him. He got a decent contract from the Bengals, was there the last 2 years, continued to be a ball hawk, has 6 total interceptions. Obviously, we know the flaws. If you know anything about Geno Stone, you know what the problems are with Geno Stone. He is a pure cover player. So I don't think that he is what Mike wants. I think Mike wants cornerback or defensive backs that can tackle and come up and run support. Geno Stone is like the purest of the pure cover safety. But he has played for Mike before. And he's done good things, right? Like, you cannot say he was bad in 2023. He had flaws. He was a flawed player, and he is more flawed now than he was then. He is starting to get, he's not, he's entering his prime now, but the last 2 years, he has probably been a noticeably worse player than he was in Baltimore. I don't think McDonald wants to have to cover up a guy like this. And you can see Pro Football Focus. They're not even big fans of his coverage in 2025. You could argue this is more of just like a pure ball hawk at this point rather than a great cover safety even. But they've never been big fans of him anyway. He had to have a absurd amount of takeaways in 2023 to get a decent grade. So it's not really what I'm looking for here, but I don't think it can be ignored that Geno Stone played under Mike Macdonald and had his best year with Macdonald, and Macdonald had the number one defense in the league while working around his limitations. So 1 year, 7.6 million. I don't even know if he's going to get that, honestly. I know interceptions get you paid, but this guy has a pretty bad reputation as a guy who is very, very limited. And I don't know if he's going to get the 7.6. He might get a lot less, especially if he's, in theory, signing with a team like the Seahawks to ring chase, right? That's kind of a part of what it is, right? Because he missed out on the Super Bowl opportunity with Baltimore because they never made it. So I don't know if this number is reasonable. I would definitely not be interested in giving Geno Stone 7.6 million with how he's played the last 2 years, but he's playing for the Bengals. He's not got a lot of support there, so I don't think it can be dismissed out of hand. Okay, next guy is Reed Blankenship, another guy who's about to turn 27, former Super Bowl champion with the Eagles, spent 4 years in Philly, done some notable things for some pretty good defenses, including, of course, the defense that destroyed Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Had a nice little career, 9 interceptions in 4 years, and he wasn't even a full-time starter that first year. Good ball hawk stuff, good numbers. Not really somebody who's ascended to like the top level of play in the NFL, and he is somebody who obviously is surrounded by pretty good talent in Philly. Pro Football Focus could not stand him in 2025. This coverage grade is about as bad as it gets. So there is a little bit of proceed with caution here, but the thing is, Reed Blankenship these other years was graded fine. So there's reason to believe 2025 was just kind of an aberration. And I don't believe, let me check here real quick to be sure here. I mean, his coverage numbers raw were not very good in 2025. They weren't anything that was truly abominable, though. So it seems like it might be a little bit over exaggerated by Pro Football Focus anyway. So I don't want to put too much into it. But Reed Blankenship would be a budget level starter at this point. I think the reputation he has right now is weak enough to where he's not going to get a ton of money. Botrack goes 2 years, 14.4 million, 7.2 million per year. That's probably about half of what Kobe's going to get. So if you want to get a capable starter for significantly less money, it works. I'm not a huge fan of this one, admittedly. I think that there is a lack of over-the-top ability that I would like to have if I'm giving a bunch of money to a safety, but I think the price is probably about right. If you can get Reed Blankenship for half the price of Kobe Bryant, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. On some level, you get what you pay for, but It's not a bad arrangement. One final guy for this video, one final budget starter, Donovan Wilson. A little bit older. He's 31, gonna be 31 this year. Spent his whole career with the Dallas Cowboys. Versatility. He's been played different roles for that defense. Played both safety spots. Somebody that I think would fit in decently with this Seahawks defense under McDonald, where the safety position's kind of ubiquitous. Played in a lot of games over the last 4 years, so there's some dependability here. Had pretty good numbers. Really good blitzer as well. You can see that he's had some seasons where he just lays the wood as a blitzer. 5 sacks in 2022. More of a I would call him a little bit more of a box safety, and that's not ideal in this defense where you want your defenders to be kind of ubiquitous, but he is a valuable player. Now, Pro Football Focus did not like his 2025 at all, especially the coverage grade. But you go back to previous years, it's at least manageable. He's not always this bad. Now, the thing is, this could be age, right? Like, he turned 30 last season, now he's 31. If he's just suddenly not a good player anymore, it would not be the most shocking development in the world. He's on the wrong side of 30 now. So, Botrax says 3 years, 20.8 million. Feels like a little bit of a trap to me. Feels like a little bit of a situation where you're going to get him, and then he's just not going to be you're gonna be left holding a bag because he just doesn't have it anymore. But it is an option, and it's a little bit less than these other guys even, right? The 3 years is kind of icky because you're stuck with him if he ends up being washed, but decent option, something to think about. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Those are your budget starters in my book. We'll do a couple more videos later today with depth options. Those might be even more viable than these guys because I think we need some safety depth. All right, everyone have a good rest of your day. Go Hawks.